What up, Block fam? Welcome to today's episode where behind me, I haven't even seen him yet. I literally walked up and put my hand like this so I couldn't see him. But behind me, we've got the brand new Harley-Davidson CVO models. I didn't want to see him because I wanted to get my legit first reaction. So here we go. Timing, hell yeah. So these bikes literally just got done being shot with Cycle World, I believe. So if you guys follow Cycle World, you should be able to see some videos on their stuff as well. CVO from Harley-Davidson is like their top of the line stuff. So custom vehicle operations, it's kind of like when Ford used to do like the SVT stuff, right? Special vehicle team or whatever. So same kind of thing. There's just so much to take in. There's so much change. This is what most of you guys are wanting to see. Which, man, it looks so good. Aggressive, I like it, but like super clean. So I'm gonna go ahead and put some of my stuff away. For those of you that like Harley's racing heritage and you are fans of the Fast Johnny, here's one of those, but then also, would you say we were calling this one?
This is Faster Johnny.
Faster Johnny, because it's got a 135 in it. That's a badass bike. Joining me here, law-abiding biker.
Well, hey there.
Be sure to go watch his stuff. He's going to be coming out with some content on these bikes as well. And I just asked him, like, so what do you think? What are your initial thoughts? And I'm like, wait, don't answer that. I should be recording that. Yeah, what do you think, man?
I have done a lot of research on this bike, but initial thoughts are, I know there's a lot with the new shark nose design. Initial thoughts video doesn't do it justice. It's really good looking in person.
Right? I said,
it's
like,
so
it looks
weird.
Aggressive, but it's looks really clean.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, you got to see it in person. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, video is doing this no justice
Isn't that
at
weird?
all. Well, especially wide angle. I know how
Right.
much you guys love that stuff. You know, it's like whenever you go to YouTube to watch an exhaust video, you're never actually going to hear that exhaust. Big focus here, CVO, they're really paying attention to a lot of those details. So black chrome motor rockers, and then the push rod tubes, tappet covers, VVT. Are we going to be able to pull this off and check it out like while we're doing this?
No.
I just want to look, man. I just want a quick peek. Exhaust. So they did increase diameter of this, but I just gave you guys like tons of specs and all that B-roll. So this portion of the video, we're going to focus on what the ride feels like. If you guys want more of those like super hyper detailed tech specs, might make a video going real in depth on that. We'll call it like a deep dive or something. For the most part, this video is going to be going over just the first kind of initial thoughts, impressions, and letting you guys know how this bike feels while riding it, how it makes me feel. I'm sure I'm going to be giggling like a schoolgirl quite a bit, so brace yourselves for that. Also, hit subscribe if you like giggling on a motorcycle. I do. I mean, that's like the ultimate testament of a test ride, right? It makes you smile. All right, guys, so we are gearing up to go ahead and ride. Haven't even sat on the bike yet or started it up, throwing my leg over. So in today's video, we're doing the test ride on the Harley-Davidson CVO Road Glide with the 121 cubic inch Milwaukee 8 with VVT. So you do have adjustment for suspension right here, but they've actually already adjusted it for us, which is super cool. Adjustable like little wind guards there. Storage, I've already got my GoPro in that one. So the storage here, much larger. Bags, pretty much the same. Speakers in them, still gives you a lot of space. All right, so it's a fob. I was just about to go to reach to turn here, but on here. Man, this screen is massive. It's the first time I'm seeing it here. Sheesh. Good turning radius. All right, the height on it is nice. I was just able to pull out of that parking spot, backing it up the whole way. Not too difficult. I am flat footing, sitting at a stop. I am 5 foot 10 inches tall. Hey, with the boots, I might be a little taller. Let's go ahead and start this thing. So press, let go, starts up. Nice. All right, so this bike has 486 miles on it. Ergonomics feel, I can tell you right off the bat, just from putting my feet up on the footboards, the ergonomics feel great. Oh man, it feels sportier because like where the floorboards are, you're not as far out like the previous bikes. It does feel like they're pulled in a little bit. I don't know if that's because of air cleaner or what. Oh man, this thing feels nice. Dude, this display is freaking beautiful. Yo, the brakes feel nice, especially as Brembos, right? Ryan ripping it up back there on that faster Johnny. Hear that thing? Oh yeah, I forgot, lane splitting. We can do that here since we're in California, but I'm gonna freaking CVO, unreleased. Talk about anxiety. Guys, I have ridden in California before, and I have lane split on a bike before, like a bigger bike, but it has never been an unreleased Harley-Davidson CVO, like brand new design. Like this isn't even one of like the production models. This is like a pre-production model, and having to lane split, dude, like coming from somewhere, in Florida, we're not allowed to lane split. So it's not like something that I practice regularly. So having to do that, holy stress. Oh, I hate this. The brakes are so good, so touchy. All right, well, after that liability-defying stunt, let's resume talking about the controls. So on your left side, you've got clutch, obviously, mirror that comes up and goes out. Now, surprisingly, on mirror note, I'm actually able to see like beyond my shoulders. I mean, I am catching a little bit of my shoulder on this one. This one I need to adjust up and out a little bit, but the mirrors actually extend far enough to where they're usable. Usually mirrors that like come up and off the bars, I'm just looking at my shoulders. So that's a good thing. Resuming on left side, you've basically got this large toggle, like directional arrow area, which is going to be used for controls on this big, beautiful screen here. You've got left indicator, so press that, it indicates up there. And then you've got your horn. I'm not going to use right now because I don't want to alert anybody. I'm kind of curious as to what the weight difference is. I know they gave us those specs, but I'll put the weight difference between this bike on the screen here. So you do have cruise control, so you're going to press that button to turn it on. It does indicate above the miles per hour. Hell yeah! Oh man, I hit that red line pretty good. But it did a good job staying off it. It wasn't like pop, 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 pop. It was the first time me getting on the bike. Felt good. Anyways, controls. So a lot of times Harley-Davidson will put the option button up here. So the option looks like it's here instead. And then you've got your traction control option right here. So if you press that, I would assume turns TCS off, on. Might have to be stopped for that. And then this is actually going to be your pass light. So you press that and it's just going to light up. Boop, boop, boop. Looks like you also have grip warmers, which is kind of cool. 60, 5th gear, drop it to 4th gear, 3,000 RPMs. I can probably drop one more, just get on a little bit. Oh, you can feel the valve time kicking in, hell yeah. Smells like ocean, because ocean. So we'll show you guys more of the functionality of the controls on the left side, like all this stuff here, whenever we get into the infotainment. That'll probably be like part of that like super in-depth video. Oh, this is a gas station? What? No way. Carmel Highlands General Store. It doesn't look like a gas station at all. It's amazing. So right side, yeah, you've got your on off. So you basically like are gonna toggle that, and then the bike is in the middle mode. Screen pops up, CVO, loads the gauges, and then you press once and it's going to turn on, which we'll resume that whenever we get going again. You've got your hazard button, nothing for there, no trigger switch. So this is going to be a lot of the audio, so for your speaker setup and whatnot. For the speakers, they do have Rockford Fosgate audio system, which is awesome. So in the rear, Rockfords, and in the front, Rockfords. And normally for baggers, I'm used to grabbing here and like turning the switch, but it is up here now. They do still have a little key area so you can lock the steering lock. And then you've got PTT, a little mic. I would assume if you're connected up, Bluetooth or whatever, you're able to do voice commands by pressing that. And then you got volume up, volume down, previous, last, pause, play, and right indicator. So let's go ahead and look at this thing with the lights on, like off of it. Oh yeah, that looks so good. I always talking to them earlier and basically saying how it feels very like Audi, like, so it has that like premium feel to it. See the indicators on this thing? So the lighting, it does have that very premium LED kind of feel. Super nice. High beam on this thing. So basically you pull to do the pass light, and then you're gonna press out to do high beams. So that'll just stay on. So you press out. So it does have the tubeless spoked wheels. Brembo brakes on it. Just by that run, super, super touchy. Not in a bad way though. It's a good thing. You just have to get acclimated to them from like the last bike that you rode. The seat feels comfy. Whenever I sit on it, there's definitely extra support like in the middle, softer on the sides. What is this, like a suede or Alcantara kind of around the edge? It's funny, like I'm looking for neutral, like takes some getting used to, like with this new stuff, you know, like your muscle memory kicks in and not used to it. Oh, beautiful. Highway 1. I've wanted to ride a motorcycle over here for so long. Since I started riding motorcycles, like I said, I've driven across the US twice. So basically Florida to California, up Highway 1, and then back through like the center of the US. And one of the roads that I ended up driving on was Highway 1. It was like not in a car that like served it justice. It was in a Honda Fit. But I knew whenever I was driving it, I wanted to take a motorcycle on it whenever I started riding motorcycles. And so just coming back from riding like Tail of the Dragon and the Blue Ridge Parkway, you know, I've done riding out in Arizona that's just been beautiful. I've done riding in California, like a decent amount, some beautiful riding, but Highway 1 is definitely special because you're on this winding road right beside the ocean, cliff faces, beautiful beaches. All right, so good God, I have to like really push myself to like not pay attention to these beautiful views on Highway 1. Blockhead, talk about the motorcycle. I'm really sorry, guys. I did press and try to ask, like, hey, is this front fairing setup going to start to be offered like in the non-CVO line? It's one of those things where unfortunately Harley-Davidson, they're like, well, we can't speak about future blah blah blah. But just know that I do really try to pry and get this info for you guys, but unfortunately they are not able to talk about it. This bike, it does have modes. Right now we're in road mode, so these modes, the little icons that they have, they look exactly like they do on the Pan America and the Sportster S and the Sportster, the new Sportsters with the RevMax stuff. You've got your mode button right here. So right now in road mode, if I press that, it's going to switch it over to sport mode, and that changes the throttle response. It changes the engine braking, basically the mapping. It's a little bit more aggressive, snappier on the throttle in sport mode, and then if I press it again, it's going to swap it over to A and B. So you do have two programmable modes. I'm sorry, guys, but just look at it. Would you just look at it? Oh my God. Yeah, you do have two programmable modes. A, and then if I press it again, it should probably go into, no, it goes into rain mode. So yeah, B mode might not be programmed yet. That is rain mode. Rain mode basically like really just throttles the bike down, changes the throttle response quite a bit on it. All right, so rain mode. It's still got some grindiness to it, but it's definitely delivered in a much more tamer fashion. You know, if you grab a handful of throttle, it's not just like all of a sudden running away from you. Third gear, about 2,500 RPM, rain mode. All right, so you see how that accelerated. So I'll change the mode here. All right, third gear, about 2,500. Yeah, it's much different, and you can feel the valve timing start to kick in a lot more in that mode than you can rain mode. Let's go ahead and throw it in sport mode. So the engine braking, man, as soon as I put it over and swap to sport mode, you can for sure feel the engine braking change. It's probably a bad spot to test this, but oh yeah, much different throttle response. Like how I do that despite being like, it's probably a bad place to test this. In a curve, jumping on throttle, like traditionally you don't do that with like stuff that's a really high torque because you want to make sure you have really like grippy tires that are warmed up. All right, so I guess since this Tacoma's not going to let us buy, it'd be a good time to talk about ergonomics and the overall comfort of the bike. So my hands pretty much straight up from my shoulders. Like I said, I'm 5'10". I'll try to get some like third perspective shots of me on the bike, but it does feel comfortable. I'm not like too high, I'm not too low. And then also I know on previous road glides, the bars did come back and they were at like a little bit of a different angle, and I know riding those bikes with stock bars, like I felt like a T-Rex, right? I felt like my arms are all bunched up. Oh, that valve timing though. It's gonna be really interesting to start working on bikes that have this valve timing. It's not just gonna be a straight up stage 2 cam job. Hell yeah, plenty of passing power. Guys, the handling on this thing feels amazing, super smooth, suspension is nice. Like I was saying, the ergonomics, my hands feel very comfortable with stock bars even. This is just personal preference, and it always boils down to personal preference on bars. But with my bike, I'm more here, so yeah, a little bit further in. Seeing as it's, you know, Harley-Davidson CVO line, it's like the premium offering from Harley-Davidson. So they usually offer them in limited numbers. Now this one does not have a number on it, because I know that's a question that I'm going to get. Whenever I did the test ride video for the El Diablo had those plates, right? So it was basically like the Lowrider ST with some upgrades, and it had the numbers. And so the one that I rode, it didn't have numbers. So people were asking me like, where's the numbers? And I was like, this is a pre-production model. It's like there's no numbers. Oh, get it, bro. Hell yeah. Dude, it feels so smooth, and this wind protection is amazing. Where the footboards are, you know, you're forward, like I don't feel cramped up, so they're not too high, they're not too low. I'm sure they've got like some decent clearance for some turns. Haven't scraped yet, but we haven't been able to take these curves like with much speed because of the traffic. Hopefully, like at some point we will be able to, but handling feels great, feels very, very balanced. The suspension feels good, and whenever you are getting on it, you do hit some bumps. In a couple of these curves, we've been hitting like some uneven road. It's not like a pogo sticking you, right? So it's not like throwing you back. So it does feel well balanced. I mean, it should, because it is an upgrade in suspension, both front and rear. The fronts are non-adjustable. The rear is adjustable, like I showed you guys on that little side piece. Yeah, overall, it feels incredibly comfortable. It does feel skinnier for some reason. Like with my feet up on the footboards, it does feel skinnier. It feels like it tucks in a little more, which is nice. All right, so I'm gonna enjoy this ride for a bit. Let's do a little montage of this beautiful scenery in these roads, and we'll keep going. She pulls nice. It pulls very strong. Obviously, like my comparison being my bike, the Goldzilla pulls like hard as hell. 160 horse, 160 torque from Goldzilla, which is my 2020 Softail Lowrider S, which we've done a stage 4 131, 590 cam, custom tune, heads, done that thing up to the 9s. So whenever I get on that bike and give it like a 100% throttle, like it can get scary fast. This, you're looking at like right about 140 torque, I think it said. You definitely feel it, but it's delivered so smoothly. Like you're going faster than what you realize. Like you basically look down and you're like, oh shit. Like I didn't realize I was going that quick because of how smooth it feels. So it's a testament to the suspension, it's a testament to the power delivery, the valve timing kicking in, making it nice and smooth as well. So it's kind of interesting with the valve timing. That's definitely a big focus, like something that I'm trying to like feel a lot. It's not something that's like super distinguishable, but you can definitely feel it. Normally with a cam, you kind of have to choose the cam profile that you want. So right, it's like, okay, do you want something more torquey? Do you want something more horsepower, like top end? Or do you want something kind of like more in the middle? You can't really have all of those things because of the lift and the duration, you know, how basically like how the cam is designed. And so with valve timing, you can kind of get the best of both worlds there. You don't have to just like settle on one because it does adjust, which is nice. That'll basically make the power more linear throughout and you're able to control it more. It's definitely going to be interesting to get those on the dyno, tune them up, because it should give us a bit more capability in terms of like the aftermarket performance. I don't ever get on these bikes and think like, okay, this is it. Like, you know, Harley-Davidson definitely leaves a lot of power in these engines untapped, and a lot of manufacturers do, and that's because they are restricted by the EPA. So they have to you know, make the exhaust quiet, they have to put cats on them in order to meet those EPA standards. It has to meet certain decibel levels, etc., you know, rules that they have to follow because they're a manufacturer. The bike is great though. Like I'm going over in my head, it's like, okay, what's my biggest point point of criticism, because, you know, I always try to say, like, no bike is perfect. There's always something that can be better. So I always try to answer 2 questions at the end of the test ride. So the first question is, would I buy it? I have so much appreciation for the CVOs and like the amount of detail that they put into them, but I don't have the bank account, I don't have the wallet to spend CVO prices. If I had the expendable income, would I buy it? Probably, yeah. With the background of owning a motorcycle shop, it does make me start thinking of like, okay, well, what else can we do to it? Like I was just saying, if I were to get this bike, I would do away with the warranty pretty quick, like, so I don't know if that's something that would be, I don't know, the best move financially for me. But if you guys are looking for a bike out there that fine attention to detail, feels great, actually has ride modes, you know, you've got the valve timing, I mean, there's just so much changed on this motorcycle. The second thing that I always try to address is having a criticism. Like I said, no bike is perfect. So my criticism, and this is going to be one that like I've kind of come across on like a lot of different bikes, the seats. I feel like I am pushed up a little far forward. I told you guys I was going to wait to comment on like the ergonomics of the bike more towards the end of the ride, and pretty much as soon as we're done with this last leg, I think you said it was like 10 to 15 miles or so to the end, and initially it feels awesome, especially the hand placement. Also, we're going over some pretty good bumps, and dude, very predictable. I'm not getting like that pogo effect where it's kind of like throwing me all over the road. I don't feel like it's washing out. That's a good thing. I would do away with the heel shifter just because I feel like I can't like pull my foot back and be on the balls of my feet, but that's just, once again, personal preference. I don't really use a heel shifter, so that's just me. You know how they talk about feeling like you're on top of the bike versus like in the bike? I kind of feel like this is a halfway with where I'm at. If I was able to scoot back a little bit more, that would lower me a little bit, and I would feel a little bit more in the bike. But as of right now, I feel like halfway on top of the bike, but halfway in. If I had like a seat that I was able to go back a little bit more, I'd put my arms a little bit more out instead of being bent. And so just those minor tweaks in like ergonomics, but that's going to vary person to person because everybody's a different height, everybody's a different shape. Good bumps. Oh my God, those are some pretty gnarly bumps, and this suspension just like soaked it right up. There we go, guys. That is the test ride on the new Harley-Davidson CVO with the 121 cubic inch Milwaukee 8 with variable valve timing. Total new offering from Harley-Davidson here. I mean, it's a road glide, but there's so much changed on this bike that it's a good ride, I'll tell you that. If you guys are considering one, head up to a dealership, tell them that Blockhead sent you, see if you can go give one a test ride. Definitely feels different than like their current offerings with like the 117, you know, the 107s, the 114s. Power feels great, very responsive, different ride modes, huge perk. Your stopping feels amazing with the Brembo brakes. Like I said, it took me a little bit. I don't know if you guys saw that first initially, like as I was first getting on the bike, the brakes were really touchy, but that's a good thing because I just had to get used to them, but they provide plenty of stopping power, especially the rear brake. I was actually really surprised about that. As I would get on rear brake, normally where I would need rear and then I would start to apply a little bit of front, I actually didn't need to apply front. I was just using rear, which was cool. The suspension feels nice, soaks up the bumps like super nice. Whenever you're hitting some of those bumps in the turns and whatnot, very predictable. Unfortunately, we didn't get to ride it at night and test out the new headlight, but from what Paul's saying, he got to ride it at night, and it's just, I mean, no pun intended, but night and day different. The new headlight design looks just killer. It reminds me, like, gives me those like premium, like Audi LED running light vibes, which is a good thing. I love the fact that it looks aggressive, but clean. I think that's a hard balance to accomplish. On the previous road glides, they had that lower fairing on the CVO models. It would basically come here and then it would go all the way down to here. So the fact that they've basically like kind of stopped it here and then it goes into the body line of the radiator cover or the cover here is nice. It gives it this like very visual balance. Like I said, aggressive but very clean lines. I like it. Here in the fairing and the tank even going here, the covers, the bags. It's a good looking bike. I would expect that we'll start seeing some of this stuff in the regular road glide offerings. So I mean like your non-CVO models. So like we're seeing this in the CVO stuff right now, and so hopefully we start seeing it in the more like consumer level stuff too. Fingers crossed. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, do me a favor, leave a comment down below. Let me know what you like the most about this bike. If you guys have any questions, drop them down below as well. I'll try to answer to the best of my knowledge. Like I said, we're going to be doing a follow-up video of this thing, which is going to be like a deep dive. So like going very in depth on all those tech specs and whatnot. So if it's not on the channel yet, you want to be notified of whenever it does come out on the channel, hit subscribe, and in order to be notified of it, hit the bell icon also so it sends you notifications of future uploads and activity. Be sure to go give Ryan, Law Abiding Biker, a follow. He'll have his thoughts and opinions on this bike as well as the faster Johnny. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, guys. Appreciate it. Till next time, ride safe out there, stay vigilant. Catch you guys on the next one. Peace.